Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. So during this video I'm going to be demonstrating how I do my contour and highlight routine using cream contour products, cream highlighters and powder highlighters and powder contour product, if that made any sense. One side is going to be all drugstore, the other side is going to be all high-end products. I think the two sides look absolutely identical, but you guys can judge and let me know in the comments. Before I move on with the video, the name of the contacts I'm wearing and where they're from is in the description box, along with all the product names that I've used in this video. If you want to see how I do my contour routine, whether I'm using high-end products or drugstore products, keep watching this video. So I've already done my eye makeup, my brows, and I've done my foundation. I've decided to go for a very light layer just because I don't want too much product on my skin. So we're gonna get straight in, and I'm gonna start off with first concealing my under eyes because I haven't used any concealer yet. So for the high-end side, I'm going to be using NARS Creamy Concealer in Ginger. And on the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in 20. So today, I'm actually not going to use a beauty blender. So I'm going to try and blend just the concealer using my fingers. So I'm going to take my ring finger and I'm going to gently start tapping that into my under eyes. Just like so. When you're blending your concealer, it's always best to start with the outer area and then gently go into the inner area, which is right underneath your eye. So that's the NARS Creamy Concealer on. I'm gonna do the drugstore side. This one's a little bit lighter than the other concealer, but we're gonna work with it. I didn't have any drugstore concealers that were exactly my skin tone. Well, that were exactly the same as Ginger, which is my skin tone color. So I kind of like it blended with my fingers actually. I think it works. Now I'm going to get right into my contouring, and I'm going to start with the cream products. For my high-end side, I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Contour Kit, and for my drugstore side, I'm going to be using the Sleek Contour Kit, of course. So I'm just going to pull my scarf back. So I'm going to start with the high-end side. I am using a Sigma Angled Cream Contour Brush. It just looks like this, and I'm going to take a mixture of light and medium in the Laura Mercier cream contour kit to contour. What I really love about this brush is it's quite precise, which means that you can really do a lot with this. You can also contour your nose and smaller areas that need more detail. Middle part of my ear, which is just about here, is exactly where I tend to contour. I'm gonna go around this area and just take that down. And you want to be quite gradual with this. I think that's the best contour tip I can give you. Putting too much product at once can be very, very messy. So what I usually do is I make a line like this, then I go up from here downwards to create almost a very small isosceles triangle. This is the Expert Face Brush, and I love this for blending my contour. It's literally all I use this brush for. So I'm just lightly blending it. I'm not pushing the brush into my face and blending it. I'm just very lightly going over it like this. I'm taking it all the way up into the hairline for best results. And then I'm gonna go over that. The same two colors that I was using earlier. This time not going too far out like I did before. Just literally around this beginning area. And I'm just gonna blend that. I like to be very gradual with my contour, even where I put it. I don't like to do the whole three things straight away. I like to take my time and kind of chisel all of my features gradually. I just feel like it gives me the best results. So after I've done that, I actually like to take the darkest shade in this palette, which is pretty dark, and it's the shade here. And I take a very small amount of this, and I just put this in the middle of where I've contoured, and a very small amount of it, just like that. So sort of in the middle of the contour, and I'm gonna blend that out. I'm gonna do my forehead. Funnily enough, even though I have a square face, I really hate contouring my jaw. I feel like it gets too obvious, but if you like to contour your jaw, go ahead and do that. I just like to do the sides of my forehead, so I'm gonna take that all up to here, and I like to just feather it a little bit. And then taking the brush again, and I'm just blending that all out. One other thing I love about this palette is the fact that the contour shades are so cool toned compared to other cream shadow palettes. Pretty happy with how that is looking. So I'm going to move on to other parts that I like to contour on my face. which is generally just my nose. I'm not the best at contouring my nose, to be honest, because I don't really contour it that much. And I like to kind of put a bit of depth into this area of my nose. I have natural dents on these two sides of my nose, so I like to emphasize it. If you want to make your nose appear shorter, you would put the contour shade just underneath the tip of your nose. I have a short nose, as you can tell, it goes upwards, so I tend to just do that and I don't put anything there. So I'm gonna blend this very gently using my brush. So yeah, that's kind of the contouring I do generally. I'm gonna do this side now with the Sleek palette. I like to use this to contour. By the way, if you want me to do any like other videos other than makeup videos, because I know I've been doing a lot of makeup videos recently, please comment any suggestions you have in the comments below. And then I'm going to go in with a slightly darker shade, which is this one here, and I'm going to blend that in. I'm going to use this lighter shade here for my nose. Again, going from just around my brows to the tip of my nose and then accentuating. Now don't worry if this bit in the middle gets contoured too, because we're going to use the highlight shades after. So this is what the face is looking like right now. So now we're going to move on to highlighting, and with the highlight, the cream highlight, I'm just going to use some concealers. For this side I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Under Eye Concealer, and for this side I'm going to be using the Maybelline Age. I'm using the Sigma Cut Crease brush to apply this concealer. Don't ever put the concealer right underneath your eyes. That will just create way too much product under your eyes and your eyes are going to crease, because I've already concealed my under eyes. I don't need to go over that concealer. As I said, it will just crease up and look horrible, so just don't do that. And I'm not going to add any more other than that amount of concealer that I've already put under there. So I'm also going to put some of this concealer right underneath my contour to sharpen it up and bring it towards my mouth area and a little bit on my chin. Another thing I like to do is conceal the side of my nose, well, highlight shall we say, by putting the concealer on like that. This really helps to kind of slim the nose down a little bit. And we've got some concealer here. I'm going to be using the Sigma Bake Precision brush. Now this can look quite sharp, and if you're like me, you don't really like a way too sharp look for your contour because it can look a little bit unnatural. The best thing to do is to take the brush you kind of blended your contour with and just go over that line just to kind of blur that out and smooth it out and make it look a lot more natural. As you can see, that looks a lot more natural, so yeah. I usually use this in nude, but to highlight I use it in light, so it helps with giving me that little highlight factor that I like. I like to put a little bit on the tip of my nose. It blends amazingly. I'm gonna go over and blend this area and just any areas where I feel like it needs a little bit more blending. It sometimes also helps to go over using the brush you used for your foundation, just to make sure everything is looking as naturally blended as possible. Alright, so I'm happy with that, and now I'm gonna go ahead and do some powdering. I'm going to set my makeup, especially the areas where I've highlighted. On this side I'm going to be using Laura Mercier translucent powder. On this side I'm going to be using the Soap & Glory translucent powder. I'm using the tapered highlight brush by Sigma to powder. I'm lightly sweeping that translucent powder around my eyes. I'm not really a huge fan of baking because I just feel like I get too cakey. I don't know if anybody else notices that. Just brushing some of that around my face. What I love about translucent powder when you're cream contouring is you can even set your contour without changing the colour. So I generally put very light amount of that around my contour area, just to set it so that when I put the contour powder on top, it's not muddy. I'm pretty happy with the powder on this side of my face. Now I'm going to do this side. So powdering is done. So now I'm going to do under eye kind of brightening with a lighter foundation powder. For my high-end area, I'm using the MAC Studio Fix powder in NC30. Drugstore area, I'm using the Maybelline foundation powder matte maker in Classic Ivory. And I'm using that same brush I used earlier to blend my concealer. Okay, now I'm doing the drugstore area. I actually prefer this one over the MAC powder. So I'm going to use this on the middle area of my nose and just underneath my contour. Okay, so now we're going to be doing some powder contouring. For this side of my face, I'm going to be using the Marc Jacobs Miracle Filter, which is like a duo powder thing, and I'm going to be using the contour shade. And for the drugstore side, I'm going to be using the Sleek Contour Kit in medium, which is like a very ancient favorite. For the powder contouring, I'm going to be using the Sigma Concealer Blend Kabuki, and I'm just using it very lightly. I don't really do the whole fish face thing, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed. I just don't feel like I need to do it. But this is quite precise, so I feel like I always need to get another brush to kind of blend it a little bit. Using the Sleek on this side. A very pigmented powder, so I need to be very light-handed with this. Otherwise, I'll look a bit crazy. I don't know about you guys, but I really can't tell that I'm wearing a fully drugstore highlighting contour here and fully high-end contour and highlight here. It's a bit crazy. So now we're gonna do the highlight, which is everybody's favorite part. And for the high-end side, I've got the Laura Mercier. I've literally used almost all Laura Mercier products on this side. Have you guys noticed? But I'm using the Laura Mercier highlighter palette, which looks like this. It's so beautiful. And on this side, I'm using Sleek. Sleek and Laura Mercier are my favorite brands. Like, can you guys tell? And this is Cleopatra's Kiss. Look how beautiful that is. And to highlight, I'm going to be using the Diffused Crease Brush by Sigma. I'm going to start with this side. And I'm feeling some gold, so I'm going to use this gold highlighter. I like to smile when I highlight because it brings out my cheeks and kind of gives me an idea of where to place the highlighter. Oh, this is such a pretty highlighter. And I like to put it just in this area, kind of where my cheekbone begins. Using this gold shade. How pretty is that? Yay, shiny nose. I'm gonna go and do my lips and I'll be right back. And I'm using the Makeup Forever lip liner in 5C. Okay, so this is the finished look. This is my contour and highlight. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave me a huge thumbs up and let me know what your favorite products were in the comments, and let me know if there's any other videos you guys are interested in seeing on my channel. I really want to do more sitting down talking videos with you guys because I missed that so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!